Hi, beautiful souls. So there is this fantastic email that I received from somebody on YouTube regarding the counterclockwise of the planetary and the universal movements in my other video. And goodness, the minute I read this, I started to receive the information, which of course I started to Google because I'm like, okay, I want to find out the truth. So I'm just going to read a part of her email, which is super insightful and amazing. She says, your insights got me thinking about our DNA, which admittedly I didn't know a whole lot about. But it looked into, but in looking into it, seems it has a clockwise rotation with a sad smile. I was hoping for a counterclockwise spin for obvious reasons. I wonder if that might be a subject you'd care to take a deeper dive into, just to see what the higher wisdom might be on the subject and how we could perhaps work with our DNA to correct being hardwired for illness, etc. Now, the first thing, because I didn't know the DNA moves clockwise, and the first thing I heard is, of course it moves clockwise, because you are locking in your identity. You are locking in your reality. So you're receiving from the world the expansion and new information. That's why neurolinguistic programming really works well, or anything that you're shifting a belief within you. It shifts the belief within your DNA. So what I'm receiving really clearly is that the DNA has to go clockwise, because clockwise is you're sealing off the jar. You are giving an identity. Now, if our DNA was not sealing off, now our DNA is also your eye colors, the shape of your toe, the hair color you have, the skin type, your certain personality traits, your organs, everything is in there, and it's coming from your lineage. It has to go clockwise because it has to keep locking you in into whatever it is that you have received from your lineage to look and act the way that you do. So what I'm hearing now, which is really profound, is, let's say it was going counterclockwise, then your eyes would be blue and then green and then gray and then brown, and because it's not locking into the identity in which you're dressed up as. Now, this is what the DNA is working. It keeps locked in, it keeps rotating. The same image, the same traits that have from your lineage have fallen in and opened up and become who you are today, right? Become the version of you today is because of your DNA, how you look, your skin type. Like, let's say you start getting, you have like strong nails or weak nails. This is part of the lineage, part of the DNA, but a lot of this can change. So a lot of this you can't change your eye color or the specific things like the stamp of your external identity and your internal identity, However, there are traumas there, right? They're in the codes in your body, right? There are belief systems. Now that's all from the program outside. There's illnesses and sicknesses. According to a certain trigger you go through, could be ignited or could not. So somebody from the same family could have come from a lineage of migraines, but then you get triggered with a migraine, but your sister hasn't gotten triggered by the migraine. You both have the same genetic pool, but you get triggered because your life path did the thing that will actually open that trigger, right? So just in general, the fact that the universe does move counterclockwise, which is constantly expanding and opening up, which is constantly renewing itself, we can't do that here. That's why we go clockwise, because we keep trying to lock in who we are. And it's not us doing it. It's just so that the reality doesn't collapse, or the reality you've built for yourself doesn't collapse. You can change all that because the universe keeps expanding. So for example, you go to therapy, right? Or you go to, or you go get a Reiki healing, or you go do something. Your belief system changes, especially with neurolinguistic programming. Your belief, the neurons in your mind start to shift in their perception because you're expanding, right? We're unlocking. So this is what happens in NLP and all the different techniques I use and I work with, is opening the jar counterclockwise, okay? Letting the shadow come out to be seen, right? Okay? And then pouring something new in and locking it in to make a new identity, to make a new belief, to shift a paradigm shift. But if it's constantly unlocked, then your paradigm is shifting all the time because you're you're expanding consistently, but in a way that like you're not, there's no like solidity, or there's no foundation you're standing on, or there isn't an identity you can actually hold on to. You're just constantly moving and expanding. Like, so all I'm seeing is like, I'm being shown right now is like, your eyes are like blue, and then like brown, and then your skin is like dark, and then light, and then, you know, and then your hair changes color, like purple and pink and yellow and blonde, and, you know, like, and you're tall and short, cause like all the stuff. So the DNA has to go counterclockwise so that it locks in your reality and your thing, which can be shifted by the thoughts and the patterns within your perception of life. So in the work I do, it feels like what I do is I counterclockwise to allow a locked in identity to show itself, to be shifted, to allow it to go out, and then a new thought comes in, a new identity, a perception, neurons reconnect in a new way, which allows the DNA to lock in the newness. So the reason they are clockwise is because they just keep in the information. The information can be changed. Every information you give yourself goes in and it locks in as your identity. So let's say when you were younger, you believed that you didn't matter, and that became a belief, and it became a locked in, right? It's clockwise. It's taken it into the jar and you've sealed it, and now you're moving in life through that. Let's say you go to a therapy session, a spiritual session. You go to a new country and you experience something so different that all of a sudden you start to feel worthy, right? What happens? Now the clockwise is locking in worthy and has gotten rid of unworthy, because that's the new dynamics, the new identity, so that it locks in and stays in there, right? And there's something about this whole like going on for 30 or 40 days in repetition of something, right? In repeating something to self. And this isn't in a state of affirmation. This is just like in repetition of a truth for you. Like maybe your truth is, I am worthy. I am worthy. And just saying that for some time, like there is truth in there. Like it will take, like, it's so much shorter usually when you're like in a session. But if you're doing this for you and you want to change a thing, by the amount of repetition, because just I'm seeing it like going into you and telling every single cell, every single being in you that now there's a new language that's coming in, because now you're teaching yourself to believe it. You're walking like it, acting like it. You're believing it. You're writing it down. It's becoming your new reality. And then it locks in because your DNA is going clockwise. It's closing the jar. It's like, oh, new belief in here. Every part of this person's being believes it. It's a truth. Like Eckhart Tolle, his entire reality shifted completely. One day he was anxious, depressed, and beyond, and couldn't stand himself anymore, even though he had a perfect job, like he was a professor and everything. And then the next day he woke up and none of it existed, like it just disappeared. His entire DNA locked in clockwise, a new belief, a new identity, where he's fully present and fully at peace and has this new identity. But he didn't change. He's not like now 6 foot tall with like muscly built arms and, you know, green eyes and, you know, blonde hair. Like, that hasn't changed. I hope this is making sense. So thank you so much for your incredible email. I love these kinds of like out of the box thoughts and like things, and then to receive the information, because it's so insightful. But all I heard is, of course it's clockwise. You know, of course you can get rid of illness. You know, so many have. Look at, like, see the beliefs that need to be released. You know, EFT is one of the most beautiful things to do, because you actually tapping and putting into your system a belief, you know, a new belief. But that isn't before seeing the shadow. That isn't before going deep in your shadow and seeing your truth for you first, which is so important, you know, so important. Seeing that belief, allowing it to exist, naming it, calling it, bringing it into light, saying, yes, I am unworthy. I feel it. I know it to be true. And it's allowed to exist. It's allowed to exist. It's like Bring it into the light, into the light, into the light. Truth. Now it's out of the box. You've actually counterclockwise it out. And it's allowed to be there. But it's no more a hidden, dark secret. It's a truth. No one else has to know. But it's important that you get to see it and know it and sit with it and not be ashamed of it. Until you're not ashamed of it and you embody it and be like, you know what? I feel unworthy, and so freaking what? And new belief starts to form. The DNA starts to go clockwise, and built in a belief, worthy or not, I love you anyway. Woo! Your questions are of great value, great insight even to me. I love channeling the information. I love receiving. I truly love shadow work. I truly love going into the disempowered self and bringing it to the light. It feels delightful. As painful as it sounds, but it's the freedom from suffering, I believe. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, thumbs up, subscribe, share. Let's enlighten the world a little bit and get everyone out of their pain body, which is what Eckhart Tolle calls, and out of suffering. And let's be cool with seeing our disempowered versions and just pouring some love and light on them and not being ashamed of them anymore. Anyway, if I've been of any service to you, you can donate and support me and support this channel. The link is at the bottom. It's Buy Me a Cup of Love. And you want my books? They're there. I've got 2 beautiful books. One of them really will help you fall in love with yourself deeply. It's called Discover the Gifts of Your Disempowered Self, and it's truly magical. And what else, Rain? What else, Rain? That's it. If you have any questions, share them. I'd love to respond. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful day, and let me know if you have any insights about the DNA. Bye.